UAP are airborne objects that, when encountered, cannot be immediately identified. With regard to the importance of transparency, the Department is fully committed to the principle of openness and accountability to the American people.
We're going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Oh my gosh, dude.
U.S. Navy personnel recorded what appears to be triangles, some flashing. The video was taken through night vision goggles with a single lens reflex camera.
Well, I would say, it's a pretty high-profile incident. I don't claim to be an expert. You're the guys investigating it. I mean, who else is doing it?
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. It's November 18th, and before I begin the show, as I always do, this is dedicated to those who have been ridiculed, made fun of, and dragged through the media for the past 76 years now. Today's show, I'm going to be showing you a lot of photos. And the reason why I'm doing this, and I've never done this before in all the 40 videos I've done, is because I want you to understand that I just don't take videos all the time and then dissect them. I have hundreds and hundreds of photos of probes, UFOs flying through the atmosphere. So you're going to be seeing a lot of photos of probes and UFOs, and you'll be able to distinguish which one is which. So with that, we can begin the slideshow for the first segment. This was obviously a UFO. It looked like a pan, but it was up there in the sky. And we're going to be going through these about every 30 seconds. You're going to see another photo. But as I go through them, I'll try and talk to you about the objects themselves. But I'm going to be getting to other things, not just the objects you'll be looking at. Just to let you know that I have literally thousands of photos of objects that are in our atmosphere. And it's very important to say that because scientists, even today, just last week, I'm going to be quoting some scientists, but again, they're saying there's nothing there to see. You can see this was a flying saucer. It was reverberating through the atmosphere. It shows the dark mass, that's the flying saucer, and it's coming through what looks like maybe an opening in space. Some of these were taken in Pahrump, Nevada, and some of them were taken in Las Vegas, some in Henderson, and some in Puerto Rico. Here is another object, the dark mass. You can see this seemed to have come through a tear in space. I have to say that because in the original photo, before I started going over it, it was a dot and a white film behind it, and this is the results. This was taken a little bit at dawn, I would say about 5 o'clock, and it was streaking through the sky. What it was, who knows? It wasn't going in a level pattern, it was going up. So that told me it was not a comet or asteroid. So whatever it was streaking through the atmosphere, going up. Here's another shot. These are all different. This is not the same. I'm telling you over and over again, I'll tell you that these are not the same. They're all different. This one here was actually coming down. It wasn't going up. It looks like it would be going up, but it was going down and leaving a cloud around it. That's the light air. Inside's the dense. Here's a UFO that was really up there. We were blowing it up for you to give you a better idea. This UFO was going rather fast, and as it was going through the atmosphere, I didn't hear any boom because the speed of the 5 shots I took, it only came out in 1. And again, these are tiny little specks. But this is a digital camera, so there's no film, so there can't be any scratches on it. Another object, the density, you can see the different shades giving off cool air. And I'm showing you the end product of what I do when I analyze these objects. And as we go through these, look at the different shapes. This one is the iconic UFO. I didn't go any further with it because it starts to give you a lot of distortion, but you can see it is in the shape of a UFO, unidentified flying objects. Never mind what the government calls them, UAPs, EAPs, CAP, all those acronyms are a bunch of baloney. They're called UFOs, unidentified flying objects. I wanted to show you this one here. It's the only one where I'm going to be showing you a lot of the same craft. Look how small it is. I caught it in my camera. To the right, on the corner, right corner, bottom corner is my house. And that object was caught. I almost missed it. It was so tiny. On the next photo of this one, you're going to see a little bit better view of it. And that's what that was. It certainly wasn't a bird. If it was, the bird just was not shaped right and wouldn't be able to fly. But this object was flying. Now, I only got one photo of it, and so I had to keep enhancing it until I got to the end results. And when you see the end results, you'll understand what I'm talking about as far as tiny. But enlarging it and remastering it, you get a better idea of what this looked like. Lighter view, I lightened it up. You can still see my house on the side. I blew it up quite a bit. Odd shape, very odd shape. It's funny because I got actually two of these objects, different times in different places. This was in Pahrump, Nevada. And so whatever this craft was doing, it was in Pahrump. That's the end results. Take a look at this, ladies and gentlemen. That's not a bird. This object was up in the sky. Again, 5 photos, it only came out in 1. So if scientists want to say it was a bird, it flew at supersonic speed because I took them rapidly, one after the other, all 5 photos. That is the proverbial UFO. You can see the outline of it. I went crazy with my filtering system. As you can see, there's a lot of detail on this side, but that detail may be mute because I can't see inside the craft, but it may be giving off electromagnetic field, pulse, and that's the reason why it's showing these different colors inside of it. Another UFO, flying saucer. These are iconic UFOs. You can see them from the past, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. People were taking the same shape back then. These, ladies and gentlemen, are just within 2023. Another UFO. They come in different shapes and sizes, but you can always see that UFO film, the feeling you get when you see this craft in a picture. You know it's a UFO because of all the photos that have been seen over the years. Another UFO. Take a look at that. This particular one, I took 3 shots and it was going up in the air. And it must have been going pretty fast because it only came out in 1. Here's another UFO. That wasn't the same one. I caught this one the day after, and it was pretty much in the same area. Here's one that was coming over Las Vegas, and the skies were really blue. I darkened it even more so you can get a better idea of what was flying through the atmosphere. It seemed to have a bottom dark area where maybe craft were going in and out of it. This craft seemed to be pretty large. On this one here, it definitely looked like something that you could call a probe or a UFO. 2 dark mass It was flying in unison, and this is what happened when I used my filtering system. Again, I want to give you an idea that when I show a lot of these end results of UFOs, I do that for a reason. So many people over the years have told me, how is it that you get these and I don't get them? And I've said that probably 100 times, but I have to stress that I'm out looking for these UFOs. By taking hundreds of pictures a day, I get these UFOs. And if anybody wants to challenge me, all they have to do is ask. I'll let them look at my phone data, the details involved, of where I was at, when I took it. It even gives you the location. I have nothing to hide. But scientists do, because for the past 76 years, they've been lying to us. Of course, they've been pressured by the government to say what they say, but that doesn't mean they're right. Now, as we go on to the show, I'm going to be getting into things that I'm not familiar with or comfortable with. I'm not a scientist. Even though I worked around scientists for 25 years as an analyst, I can tell you the way scientists think. You have to give them credit because they work so hard for their PhD or their doctorate or whatever they may have. And I understand that. And I've said that before. But what I don't care for is the fact that when they ridicule people, and those people live through that ridicule because of the media, maybe they've drawn cartoons of them being loony, that really is a problem for me. A problem for me that's stayed with me since day one. People have said to me, I'm kind of odd. That's okay. I can be odd. But you know what? When you see the things that I show you on TV, on my shows, they're real. They're not artist renditions. I don't talk about hey, I saw this. I show you what I've taken. No other show does that. You find a show that does that, write me and let me know. We'll be back right after this message. Hi, I'm Joseph from UFO We Want to Know, and I'm here to tell you about the tumbler lady at the farmer's market at Tractor Supply in Pahrump every Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon. These tumblers are locally made and have specialized designer toppers. Great gifts for Christmas or any holiday, and all can be custom made upon request by emailing the tumblerlady1@gmail.com. Also, you can purchase tumblers and mugs that I mentioned on UFO We Want to Know, aired every Saturday at 7 p.m. on KPVM TV channel 25.1. Thanks for supporting local Pahrump businesses. We're back, and thank you for staying with me. We're gonna go on with more photos, but in the same time, I'm going to be talking about other things while you're looking at these photos. It's so important for you to look at these photos objectively. If you are a believer, you'll understand that some of these could be probes. The reason why I say that is because they're round in shape, or there may be two real close together again. And those are, I don't believe UFOs. I believe those are actually probes, because UFOs, if they fly close together, they have a chance of colliding if they make an error. And history tells us that craft have hit each other in the air. So I think that when you see them that close together, you got two objects that are dense, and then you got a film around them. I believe those are probes, and that they have an intended area to go, and they may split up. So that's my thinking. So let's go on with the photos, continuing on with them. Here you can see two objects. This is across the street from me, due south. And these were just flying. And at first I thought they were birds, but when I blew them up, and I did blow these up, you'll be able to see them. I actually got 3 pictures that I'm going to show you. These craft, I isolated one of them to show you the actual craft, but these were not birds. We zeroed in. I showed my director, and he zeroed in on them, and he said, those aren't birds. If they are birds, they're kind of weird looking. No wings, nothing to show that they're alive. These are two UFOs. I don't know how else to say it. It's important for scientists to understand that people like me who say things, not everything is a UFO, and I don't claim everything I take as a UFO. I'm a person that's very cautious when I go out and say something in public. This is the one of the objects up there. Does that look like a bird to you, scientist? I don't think so. Even a bird dive bombing wouldn't look like that. This is clearly two UFOs flying over the mountains. This was just taken 3 weeks ago in Pahrump. Here, another, we circled it because it was so far away. That's my house. You can see the tip of my house on the bottom left. That's my tree line to the right. And it was really far out there. Now, there is a flight zone in that area about 1,000 feet up from that area. They don't usually fly that low. And that's why I knew this was a UFO. This is just an indicator to let you know that the phone that I use, Galaxy phone that I use, the Ultra 23, can take pictures like this of the moon. I just threw this one in there. Here we go back to what I believe is a UFO, not a probe. 4 pictures. It only came out 1. You can see the density in the center and then the light. And just because it's white inside doesn't mean it's not hot or dense. Density, it truly is. It just depends on my filter system. This one here was streaking by really quick. I actually took, on this one, I took 10 pictures and it came out in 1. So I didn't even get all of it in there. It came out in the corner of the last photo. And it was going from left to right, going pretty fast. And it was actually large. I got a lot of elongated craft, a lot of them in Puerto Rico. I got a lot of these elongated craft. For some reason, they're just abundant over there. Another one. These are 2 different craft. As you can see, it has an outline in the outside, which means density in the center is hot. In the outside, the light blue, that's cold air. That's according to our scientists. Here's another one, another elongated craft. And you know, when I take these pictures, they're very, very small. They're not huge like this. It looks huge here. They're not. They're very, very small. But by blowing them up slowly and then remastering them, you get this effect. Now, by saying that, scientists are going to say, well, you changed it, you distorted it. No, this is a phone camera. This is not film. It's not video. This UFO, the dark spot was really large, but by using my software, you can see around this dark area, it kept its shape. Look at the shape inside, then look at the outside. It kept its shape. But look at how much light it was giving off. This was going pretty fast, going from left to right. This one here was kind of a weird, I call it the hat. When I went to the extreme with the software, I got some density in the bottom, but it seemed to kind of brush off on the top. But you can see the layers. It was coming down, and maybe that's the reason why it left that hat shape. This object was coming down. Here's another one. It had a little bit of the UFO shape in it. I took out as much density as I could because I wanted to see if it kept the shape, and it did. Not too much difference in shape. This was kind of odd. When I took the very when I looked at the very first part of this picture, it had that little white streak in the back of it. I didn't know what it was. I believe it was coming through another tear in space, and that's the end result of this picture. It was coming down towards Earth, and I was at about a 90-degree angle on this one. Here, another UFO. You could see it was going from left to right, and it left a little dark spot. Was that coming out or going into a black hole or a tear in space, whatever you want to call it? This is not a bird. Believe me, it's not a bird. There was no head. If it was a headless bird or a headless tail or a tailless bird. It was up there. I got a really good, sharp image of this. This right here was another UFO. It was going from right to left, and it was actually going up. And you can see that it left a cold spot around it, several different layers actually. This one here was going up, again, leaving cold streak around it, but density or hot in the middle. And I went a little crazy with the software, and you started seeing a little pixelization, which gives you some colors in certain areas of the craft. This is a blow-up of it. The reason why I did a blow-up of it is because I wanted you to see the red spot there. It didn't go away even when I started with the software, and for some reason it stayed red in all the photos when I tried to enhance it and remaster it. I couldn't get rid of that red spot, so I wanted to keep that in mind, that maybe it was a light. Some people say that when they say UFOs, the UFOs have a red light and maybe 3 around it. Here is another UFO diving down. As you can see, this UFO is emitting light around it and density in the center. I wish that scientists would at least have the forethought of explaining more in detail of why these craft, and I know they said they don't understand it, but why can't they just come out and say it, that these craft are emitting cold air around the hot or density? Why can't they just say that and be honest with themselves? As long as they keep thinking in human terms or human physics, they're never going to get an answer. You have to open your mind up to it. And I can't stress that enough. There's so many scientists out there who will say, well, we're still learning. Well, if you're still learning, don't come out and say something that you're going to regret later on. I'm sure there are people regret making fun of people, especially people that have already passed on, because you can't take it back. You have to be open and honest with yourself. And there's so many scientists, and I know I talk about NASA all the time, they feel that the people can't take it, that we would panic. I think we're a little bit more mature than that. And talking about NASA, the director of Aero, his saying that he's going to be retiring at the end of the month. And I tell you what's something so funny about that. He concluded that he has achieved his goals. Achieved what goals? He had over 800 videos and photos to look at. Over 800. And he's achieved his goal. What was his goal? To debunk it? Because the last time he came out, I believe it was last month, he said they still haven't come to a conclusion. So what does that mean? He's achieved his goal. Mr. Kirkpatrick has got to come out and he's got to give a full account. If not, the government has just wasted more millions of dollars of taxpayers' money. Quit putting these people who claim to be directors, who claim to be PhDs with honorary degrees here and there. Stop putting them in positions where they know nothing about it. Obviously, Mr. Kirkpatrick didn't know what he was getting into. The money probably looked pretty good to him. Of course, it's taxpayers' money. Taxpayers' money that could have went to some other areas that would have done good for society, and certainly not for his pocketbook. It really angers me when I see these people smiling in front of the cameras and saying, well, I have achieved my goal. What goal? You have a lot of explaining to do, Mr. Kirkpatrick. And the next bozo they put in your place, he's going to do the same thing, another 18 months worth of paychecks. I think if you get angry as I do, write to your senators and congressmen and let them know how you feel. We'll be back after this message. Hi, I'm Joseph from UFO We Want to Know, and I'm here to tell you about the tumbler lady at the farmer's market at Tractor Supply in Pahrump every Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon. These tumblers are locally made and have specialized designer toppers. Great gifts for Christmas or any holiday, and all can be custom made upon request by emailing the tumbler lady 1@gmail.com. Also, you can purchase tumblers and mugs that I mentioned on UFO We Want to Know, aired every Saturday at 7 p.m. on KPVM TV channel 25.1. Thanks for supporting local Pahrump businesses. We're back, and thank you for staying with us. On this segment here, we have 20 more photos to show you, and there may be one or two photos that I may break into what I'm talking about while we're showing the videos, but I want to get my points across. So at this time, we can start with the photo. Okay. What I wanted to talk about was a few days ago, a couple of gentlemen, friends of mine, were talking to me, and they're a lot smarter than I am. And one of them asked me, do you think these might be time machines or tears in space that they come through? And I said, I've said that on my show. And it brings me to the thought of what people remember and don't remember, which is the Mandela effect. A phenomenon which a large segment of the population misremembers a significant event or shares a memory of an event that did not actually occur. And I thought that was so interesting when I was talking to these gentlemen, because there was a lady in 2010 that was at a conference, and her memory that Nelson Mandela had actually died in prison during the 1980s. In fact, the former president of South Africa, yes, he became the president of South Africa, was released from prison in 1990 and was very much alive. At the time of this conference, she believed he had died in prison. That just goes to show you that these craft, which I believe could be time machines, some say, and you've heard this before, that these could be us in the future coming back. Now, I'll break away from my story a little bit. I want you to show you this particular one. I've never taken anything like this before. This one, no matter what I did to the software, was green. I believe this was a probe. It was actually very close to me when I saw it when I first took the picture. I didn't actually see it when I was taking the picture, but when I looked over my photos for the day, this was right dead center in the picture. And I had to, I asked my director if he can blow this up, because I thought it was so odd that it came out green, and I didn't know why. It wasn't the software that was doing it, it was green in the picture. Thought that was interesting. According to quantum theory people who are really into it, the Mandela effect presents evidence that multi-universes, they do exist. This belief is based on the idea that within each universe, parallel realities and alternative versions of events do do appear. And of course, everybody has their own mind and the way they think of things. So you have to understand that there is a timeline out there that gets mixed up. And psychologists, however, say that sometimes it's compelling that most people think of this as deja vu. And if you think of it, and I've heard many, many people tell me, oh, that's just deja vu all over again. I think it all comes together in one big package. That's my belief. And there's been famous scientists over time have talked about realities, dimensions, wormholes, and time travel. And in the last segment, I'm going to get into something that's really interesting, and that is time travel. But could these objects that you're seeing here today, some of them be time machines? Could they be people coming back to maybe change our DNA? They figured out hundreds, maybe thousands of years in the future, our DNA could have been changed today, and that's why they're doing this. Is that a possibility? You have to keep an open mind to everything and anything you hear. If you talk to people who are skeptics and debunkers, you're not going to get anything out of them other than, oh, you're crazy. And that's okay, because they got to make a living too. It's important for people like myself, when I meet other people, they tell me, keep doing what you're doing. So it's very important for people like myself to continue on doing this. And, I know that some say try not to bash NASA, try not to bash debunkers or skeptics. But they've been doing this for 76 years, and nobody told them to stop. I believe that with a voice and reasoning, I can give you photos and videos that I capture the week before this airs. I can give you proof that these alien craft are here in our skies. And if anybody wants to doubt that, I would be more than happy to take on a challenge for anybody to see the documents that I have, the photos, the videos, the dates, times, locations. Let them disprove me now. They're not going to get very far with it, and I guarantee you they will not be successful, because I don't put anything on the air just to be on TV. I put these on the air because I believe that people need to know that it's very important that they know that the government, actually the governments around the world, have been lying to them. And if they feel we cannot take it, well, who's to say that they are our lords and masters? Who gives them, or what gives them a right to tell us what we can and can think on our own? Of course, the communist countries around the world, they tell their people what to think, what to do, what to say. Here in the United States and all the free world, we have an open mind, and we can say what we believe without persecution. And that's the beauty about democracy. So with that, I just feel that it's important for me to let people know that I will continue on taking photos and videos for as long as I can, and to assure you that every time you see me on the air, I'm not going to show you an artist rendition unless there's a point to be made, but I will never show you an artist rendition of things that I've either seen or have caught on video or photos. I will always show you them. So if there's, like I said before in the last segment, if there's any UFO show out there that shows the objects that I show, please let me know. I would like to see them. But I watch videos every single day, every single night. I am there anywhere from 10 to 15 hours in front of the television as I'm downloading my product. I'm constantly watching for new shows. I go on all types of networks, and in doing that, I get to see a variety of UFO shows. Some of them are a big letdown because they say that it aired 2 days ago, a week ago, a month ago, And I find that these shows are old shows. I'm tired of seeing the same old, same old. If you're going to be putting something on television and you're going to be putting aired 2 days ago, why don't you put the original air date first? And that way I won't waste my time looking at your photos or videos or whatever you may have. I don't like to watch a lot of these UFO shows with the ancient alien people, because the last time I went to an alien con, they wanted too much money for a photograph or a autograph. They make enough money on their videos. Why stick it to the enthusiasts who see them on TV and believe these are icons of the UFO phenomenon? I believe that it's just greed, pure and simple greed. And continue looking at these photos, you can see every one of them are different. And I believe just like we have car manufacturers that make cars in all shapes and sizes, the UFO, wherever they may come from, do the same thing. They have different shapes and sizes. Of course, going through our atmosphere, it may change the shape of the UFOs flying in our atmosphere. As I told you in so many other videos, I don't believe these craft are touching our atmosphere. I believe that these craft pull air in instead of going through the air. And that's why you don't hear any sonic boom when they're going Mach 20, Mach 100. And there are some cases where the navies of the world have said that they clocked an object going underneath the ocean going at Mach 1, Mach 2. Well, there's nothing that we have that can go that fast. So with that, I believe that these UFOs don't touch our water as well as the atmosphere. And that's why you don't see a ripple effect when they go in or come out of the water. When you hear the captain looking at the periscope or whatever it may be, that they're visually looking at these craft, you don't know. They said they don't see any kind of splash or coming in and out of the water. So that's why I say that I don't believe they're touching our water or they're touching our airspace. And so I look at these photos that you've just seen as proof positive that these craft are in our atmosphere. I have taken photos of the beaches around the world where I have captured objects way out there in the water. Unfortunately, those are so far off in the ripple effect of the water, I seem to get less clarity, and so I don't really show those, but I do have them, especially when I was in Puerto Rico this past few months back. I noticed that the photos I took, I could only catch them when I was looking away from the ocean into the mountain areas. When I turned to the ocean areas, in the clouds, even though you would get one or two in the clouds, if they were lower by the water, you couldn't get anything. You would need a better high-resolution camera than I have or what I'm using. But I'm going to continue using what I have because obviously I'm successful if I've got 20, 30,000 photos and videos of UFOs. And on the next and last segment, I'm going to be getting into something that's quite interesting. Not too many people talk about Einstein anymore, Nikola Tesla. They don't really talk about those scientists anymore because scientists today are now getting into the UFO phenomenon, and it's great. And it's a great time to be alive to listen to scientists that are very well known who are willing now to talk about this phenomenon and the phenomenons that I just expressed. So we'll be back after this message. Hi, I'm Joseph from UFO We Want to Know, and I'm here to tell you about the tumbler lady at the farmer's market at Tractor Supply in Pahrump every Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon. These tumblers are locally made and have specialized designer toppers. Great gifts for Christmas or any holiday, and all can be custom made upon request by emailing the tumbler lady ufo1@gmail.com. Also, you can purchase tumblers and mugs that I mentioned on UFO We Want to Know, aired every Saturday at 7 p.m. on KPVM TV channel 25.1. Thanks for supporting local Pahrump businesses. Thank you for staying with us. We're going to get on to the last 12 photos because I want to show you something that I think is going to be extremely interesting for those of you who think outside the box. So we can begin the slideshow. Again, UFO emitting a light on the bottom of it. This was coming towards me and a little bit down. It was very high in the sun, and but I believe this was a UFO. You can see it clearly from the very first photo before I started bringing it in and enhancing it. As we go through these 12, I'm going to be talking a little bit about a famous scientist by the name of Albert Einstein. And in 1905, he was talking about time travel and the theoretical understanding of time and space. Now, this dates back, like I said, to 1905, which I thought was really interesting because a lot of people say, well, you know, people didn't start talking about time until, you know, like the Time Machine of 1960 came out. Scientists were talking about time travel a long time ago, and this just gives you an idea of what the phenomenon has meant to so many people. And I like to get into a personal thought. Say, for instance, you were walking down the street and you saw somebody that looked really familiar to you. And you thought back and said, well, I think, didn't I just pass that person or didn't I just see that person? Okay, we're going back to the Mandela effect and deja vu and all that. But what I'm getting at is that when people think about time, were you picked up and then put back where it's repeated over and over again? Is that a possibility? Because if you think outside the box, you can believe in most anything. And I think that's very helpful and healthy for people, not helpful, but healthy for people to think like that. I think like that. I'm very open-minded. And maybe that's why I get so many UFOs. Because so many people have asked me, why do you think you get so many UFOs? Because I'm open-minded. When I go out and take photos or videos, I always talk telepathically to these beings. I know they're up there. And in some senses, when I'm around friends, I'll tell them, there's UFOs flying over us right now. And I'll start taking pictures. And I have no regret that when they look at me and they say, oh, there he goes again, that's okay. Because they see these photos and videos that I'm taking in front of them on the very next show. And I've proven that over and over and over again. And I've asked a couple of my friends, would you want to go on TV and tell them what you think about what I do and how I do things, and you've seen it for yourself. No, they don't want to come on TV, they're too embarrassed, or they think they make fool of themselves and this and that. That's okay. I don't push anybody to do anything they don't want to do. Nobody should have to do that. But getting to my point, if we talk about time and time machines, is that a possibility? Well, Albert Einstein thought it was, and that's part of his relativity theory, and I think scientists today are looking at that very seriously, and rightly so, because you know, we're getting into areas where we're going from leaps and bounds in technology, and with that, I say to those who are getting into nanotechnology, going into physics as their major, they're going to see some incredible things as time goes on. And just this past weekend, I was at Tiffany Village, and I was taking a lot of videos there. And in those videos, I actually caught UFOs going through airspace that our jetliners come through. They were crisscrossing through the sky. And next week, I'm going to be showing some of those. And I think it's so important. And I don't want people to think, well, you've shown these over and over again. I'm getting these every single week. And I bring them to you. I bring them to you every week because it's so important. If the government can continue on saying that there is nothing to see, that there is no UFOs, then I can do what I'm doing over and over and over again. People don't have to tune in to see the same old things, but they're not. They're seeing new videos every single week. So when they see these videos that I'm taking of the sun, and you got aircraft coming through them or close by, and then you see UFOs streaking by at slow motion and super slow motion, then that, ladies and gentlemen, is not repeatability. That, to me, is news. News that, for some reason, hasn't caught the regular airways. Now, there has been people out there who have contacted me and say, why isn't this on the 6 o'clock news? I have no idea. Maybe because...
Hello everyone, my name is Oscar J. Zavala. I'm from Puerto Rico, and just to let you all know, I saw Joseph's videos, and I do believe in phenomenon UFOs.
Hi, my name is Jan Warren. I'm from Puerto Rico. I believe in the ufology, and because I believe that there are other life besides the human beings, you know, like reptilians and other species that people don't like to talk about, maybe because of fear, maybe because they don't want to accept the reality, but in between time and time is giving more proof to us that they exist, and we should talk about more about this, you know. So I leave that to you. Thank you to all. I send a good hug. Much love.
Puerto Rico.
Much love to Puerto Rico.
Sorry about that. I kind of tried to steal his thunder there. These were two gentlemen in Puerto Rico that were good enough to say something for my shows. These are true believers of the phenomenon, and they weren't afraid to go on video to say what they honestly felt. Really two really cool guys that I hung around with. Now this has been on my desk for the whole show, and you were probably wondering why. I saw this piece in Tiffany Village this past weekend, and it shows a lot of different things here. And what was so interesting about this is when I first saw this piece, I thought of the time machine. And the timepiece itself, it goes back and forth. It will wiggle. The wind will blow it around a little bit like it was out there. And if you look, there's different parts to this. These parts don't have no meaning at all, but it's what you make of it. And when I first saw it, I kept thinking of time, parallels, tears in space, different dimensions. But what is time to human beings? Well, you wake up in the morning, an alarm clock, you look at the time. Some people like myself will throw the alarm clock against the wall. Time is everything. Time is specific for our everyday life. We have wristwatch that we look at. We have clocks on the wall. This one here is your imagination. And when I see a lot of the parts in this, they're mix-max. You got cogs, you got sprockets, you got wiring, you got cables. I have two of these that I purchased from this gentleman who, to me, was very talented. Very open mind. And I look at this as not a time machine, but I look at it as a piece that I can look at and I can meditate to. And a lot of people that I talked to when they first saw this, they said, that's unusual. It's something for you to to look at and try to grasp what is the builder trying to say. But again, it's your imagination, what you think this is to you. Now, my favorite time travel movie was the 1960 one with Rod Taylor, and I believe that in my opinion, that's the best time machine movie ever made. And it gave you a thought as a little kid, as I was, because this was done 1960. It gave you a chance for a lot of imagination that we could get something and we can go back in time or go to the future. And that is such an interesting thing. Even though he went into the future, he did come back, but he went into the future. And that's a reality that I think thousands and maybe millions of us think that we wish we could do. But I think that these aliens, I believe, as I said in the last segment, I believe that they come down to Earth, and I think that they're working with our DNA to change something in our DNA, because in the future, maybe we lost or we're going to lose something. So I think they're trying to correct it. Now, I'm not the only one that thinks like that. I've known a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of things written that they believe the same thing as I do. And if that's true, should we be afraid of that, them messing with our DNA? Absolutely not, because they've proven that they're still alive, or we are still alive in their time frame. And if that's true, there are some accounts where people say that they have missing time, and within what they consider 15, 20 minutes, they've grown a full beard, which means they were gone 5, 6, 7 days. There was one case where a lady was with, I believe it was 10 people, friends of hers, and they were just walking. All of a sudden, she disappeared from the crowd, not in front of them, disappeared, just they don't remember seeing her leave. And then they got a phone call, and she was something like 700 miles away within 15 minutes. How does that happen? When they had her in the ship, time was suspended. They took her to where they thought they left her off, 700 miles away. That's an interesting story. But next week, I'm going to show you something, and I think scientists would be really interested in this. I'm going to show you a ship going through our atmosphere and setting off electromagnetic field in the video. With that, I want to say thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. Hi, I'm Joseph from UFO We Want to Know, and I'm here to tell you about the tumbler lady at the farmer's market at Tractor Supply in Pahrump every Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon. These tumblers are locally made and have specialized designer toppers. Great gifts for Christmas or any holiday, and all can be custom made upon request by emailing the tumbler lady 1@gmail.com. Also, you can purchase tumblers and mugs that I mentioned on UFO We Want to Know, aired every Saturday at 7 p.m. on KPVM TV channel 25.1. Thanks for supporting local Pahrump businesses.